Good evening, everybody. Hi, howdy, and hello. Good Tuesday night to you. Mike Idle here, filling in for Ron Stone this evening. And on behalf of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association, welcome everybody to this most current edition of Outlawed Live. Now, we've got a lot to talk about this evening. We've got a fun show for you. I've got notes spread out all over my desk in my office up here. A lot of great things to talk about, including Draggin Pullin in the Pines in Lufkin, Texas, just 3 days away before we are going to conclude 4 national Case IH Thunder in the Dirt National Points Championship Series for you, as well as a little bonus class that we're going to throw out there as well. And then in addition to that, we're also going to be having another points champion come on to the show, as we have been, as we like to do this time of year. John Naragon is going to come on and talk to us about his Light Pro Stock Championship season that he had this year with the Rugrat Rampage John Deere. We've got the stats. We've got all the hot takes. Let's get down to it. Folks, where are you watching from? What are you up to this evening? Let us know in the comments. What questions about Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling do you have for all of us here at the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association? We'll do our best to tend to all of those. A couple people checking in already. Zuka Fukerberg, Doug Votes doppelganger. Doug Votes digital Facebook personification. Checking in, says Randy Ryder. Doug, tell us a little bit more and give us an update on the tractor. I just replied to some comments. People saying, hey, you're getting close. Are we going to see that big, mean machine going down the Texas track? Is everything ready to go for Lufkin? So Lufkin, Texas, final event, all point series and all other national divisions all wrapped up. All eyes are going to be right here on the Outlaws this weekend. Last one across the globe where the national point series are going to be ran. We've got 4 classes still competing for points. We've got 2 nights, 2 pulls, 2 sessions, and of course this is all part of the larger event they have down there, the Draggin Pullin in the Pines big semi-truck exposition that they have. There's going to be semi-truck drag racing. There's going to be 2 days of big pulling. This pulling aspect of this show really growing over the past couple of years. I know Ron was telling me a lot frequently that he's an admin on their Facebook page, and just day after day, more people following, more people with questions. And a lot of the individuals who have gone down to this show with the intentions of watching the drag racing and looking at the truck show walk away saying, wow, truck and tractor pulling, that really raised our eyebrows. A lot of people even say that's their favorite aspect of the show. Obviously here, we could not agree more with that. As a matter of fact, that was the highlight of the article that I wrote this past week. Kind of kicked it old school. Every single week for Beer Money Pulling Team, I write a weekly article called This Week in Pulling. Now, this summer, I was exclusively working with the Outlaws, and I titled that article This Week with the Outlaws. So we did kind of a throwback. It was a lot of fun. I got to reminisce on all the awesome things I did with the Outlaws. So we did a This Week in Pulling Rides with the Outlaws, where I took an in-depth look at the 4 points series that are going to be wrapping up in Lufkin, Texas, Friday night, Saturday night. 6 o'clock is when the chains are going tight and the flags are going green for both of those sessions. If you can't make it, I've had a lot of people say, hey, I want to go down to Texas, but it's harvest season up here in the upper Midwest. We're going to be in the combine. Totally understandable. You have 2 different platforms that you can view that on. That is going to be streamed identically on both outlawpulling.tv as well as Full Pull Live. So wherever you subscribe, you do not need to switch your subscription. It's going to come in live on your pre-existing subscription. You're going to get to hear Ron Stone. You're going to get to hear Dan Mayer. You're going to watch some of the best iron go down the track. Let's take a look. Who do we have lined up so far ready to throw down in the Lone Star State? We'll recap that. We'll analyze that till about 7:15. And then at 7:15, Mr. Rugrat Rampage himself, He's going to come on. He's going to tell us how we got it done in 2024. And we're going to ask him some questions about where is this class going in the future. So like always, I'm using my handy Outlaw app. Free to download, free to use. I cannot back this thing enough. I encourage everybody to follow Pulling Live on this. We're going to click right over here on standings. Let's see who's going to be battling it out in our 4 classes that we have over there. Super modified 2-wheel drive trucks. It's going to shake down like this. Your 2022 points champion, Richard Morris, and that mean running Buffalo's chips. That thing has been hot all summer long. Richard, if you've seen him drive, you know as well as I do, not afraid to stand on it whatsoever. He is entering the weekend with a 5-point lead. Feeling probably anything but comfortable. 5 points going into the final weekend with 56 points available to be scooped up. Of course, 28 points to the winner as long as the Outlaw finishes in first place on each session. So he's sitting at 436 points right now in his trusty old Buffalo's chips, looking to make it 2 points championships in 3 years. But Donald Nelson playing in his home sandbox, playing down there in Texas. Donald Nelson out of Cat Spring, Texas. He's got the Whippet, the trusty truck, his truck, not Mindy's truck, not Dustin's truck, but Whippet, the purple one, sitting number 2, 5 points out of first place. Very much within striking distance. Now, here's the question I have for everyone out here watching. Last year, Draggin Pullin in the Pines in Lufkin, Texas, Donald Nelson ended up kind of walking off the season. The points championship was undetermined until the final hook of the year in the 7,400-pound modified class, where he took that twisted whip tractor and he parked it in the number 1 spot. Is this the year where he does the same thing in the super modified 2-wheelers? Or does Richard Morris do what Richard Morris does and points it skyward and throws that throttle forward and just sails that thing into first place? All eyes gonna be on that. If you can be there, be there. If you can't be there, we understand. Outlawpulling.tv and Full Pull Live both have you covered on that. Interesting little tidbit as I got to looking at this. 3 of the 4 final points championship classes, final championship points races, 3 of the 4 are actually held by drivers out of my home state right here in the state of Missouri, with that 4th spot, that 4th class, we'll get to that in a second, being from the Lone Star State themselves. So are the Show Me Boys going to show us what they're capable of down there, or are those pesky Texas guys going to step up and pass them? There's only one way to find out. This is my favorite part about pulling when it comes down to the storylines, when it comes down to the competition of it. So super modified 2-wheel drive trucks, there's one thing you know. You don't mess with Texas in that class. That is kind of the cornerstone class of the Outlaws and kind of the pride of the state of Texas itself. Donald's also sitting 3rd in the Little Whip, and then the Texas Pool Whip Motorsports team is actually sitting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Dustin Corliss in the number 4 spot. And then we'll just go ahead and make it a Texas quadrant there in the 2, 3, 4, and 5, as Cameron Pascal in the High Cotton is currently in the number 5 spot. Doug's checking back in with some comments. He's watching from Lindsay, Texas, working on the Griffin Growl. This is the question we see. He says, we're down to within like fingers and toes counting, 15 to 20 parts left. I love that you have been actively updating us on this. We're with you, man. We're with you. He says, Josh Birch puts on a great show at Lufkin. The whole thing, the track down there is awesome. The whole show is awesome. Goes to that Mission 22, goes to help all of the battles that maybe we don't see being fought by veterans, and all of that is going to help and support those of them who defend this country. Let us be able to go truck and tractor pulling. They need our help every single day. That's what this event is all about. Randy Baker checking in. Says it's old school. Strap a bungee cord around it. Quick shift old school. Sure enjoyed yesterday evening. Yep, we love doing that. Pulling through the past throwback. Go out there on the Beer Money Pulling Team Facebook page or my Facebook page for some of those throwback pictures that I like to throw up from time to time. So, Lufkin, Texas, we've got Donald Nelson in the number 2 spot in the super modifieds. super modified two-wheel drive with Richard Morris, currently sitting number 1. Let's go over to the other truck class, the smoke blowers, a limited pro stock diesel trucks, the 3Os, as we like to call them. Jason Wayman out of Nobbinger, Missouri. Now, that's right in the heart of where I live. The Mr. No Way Man Diesel himself, about 45 minutes northwest of where I live, right here. Currently sitting in the number 1 spot, and the only thing that Megatron truck does, it likes to travel and it likes to win. Currently sitting number 1 in points. Skylar Leeper just nipping on his heels with the Legal Limits truck, also out of the Show Me State, the great state of Missouri, currently sitting number 2. And last year's points champion, Ryan Stahl, out there in northwest Missouri, out of Claremont, Missouri, in the spooled up, sitting number 3. Leeper checks back into the number 4 spots. And then we've got Nathan Bridgman paying dues in the number 5 spot. They're going to be going down there, seeing what they can do. Wayman, Megatron, 2-point lead. That's all he's got right now. Skylar Leeper has been on a tough mission. Ryan Stahl's not going to let those guys just walk around him either. Going to be an awesome show. You're going to want to dive into that. We've also got our pro stock tractors, where you've got Cody Yarick and Gone, another Missouri boy. There's your 3 Missouri boys. He's looking for a repeat. He's looking 2 of the past 2. He was your points champion in 2023. He's looking to be points champion in 2024. He's sitting on about a 12-point lead right now in his 5.0 pro stock that he calls Gone. Kyle Karsten's had a heck of a year so far this year, and a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tractor he's got in that deep, deep green. He's going to be running that one out there just a little bit behind in the lot of green. And then Greg Jagger coming in the number 3 spot. So when those big pros are going down the track with the whomp, 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 they're going to make it happen. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And then your final points class is going to run in Lufkin, Texas this weekend. 7,400-pound modified tractors. Cotton Cameron Neves. Now, every time I talk to Cameron, he says, Mike, quit talking about it. You're going to jinx me. Talk to me about it after the show. He's got several wins under his belt. Put on a set of new tires at Bloomfield, Iowa this year, and then he just rattled off wins. I said in my article, it's going to take a Texas tornado to knock him off of that spot. He's got a 30-point lead at the moment. Not insurmountable, but he's feeling good. He did really, really well in White. He's looking to capitalize on all of that success that he's got going so far. Wayne Longnecker having a renaissance year as well, right behind him. Cameron Neves looking to grab his first points championship in a little over a decade on a great, great season. And then the Pro Stock 4-wheel drive trucks, they're going to be down there as well. 5 classes, 4 running for points. Those Pro Stock truck boys, they're just going down there for a little folding cash, a little bragging rights, but they're going to put on a great show as well. Several hooks already lined up in that one. We'll talk more about it in just a second, but right on cue and right on time, out of the great state of South Dakota, John Naragon checking in with us. We'll bring him on board. Then we're going to play some of those awesome highlights that we've got for Draggin and Pullin in the Pines after we speak with him about his points championship season. John, how we doing this evening, sir?
Good. How are you?
We're doing awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and join us here on Outlawed Live this evening. And first things first, congratulations on your points championship. How does it feel to be holding on to that number 1 spot at the end of the season right now?
Oh, really good, actually. Been nice if we would have had a full class, but it was still fun. Had a hard season, so.
Definitely.
Yep.
You know, that's something that I look forward to talking about while we've got you on here is how that class kind of came to be and, you know, maybe some of the numbers and where we see that class going in the future. You know, as I flipped through your schedule, a lot of your hits didn't kind of fall until the back half of the season. You know, it wasn't really till we got out there to Madison, South Dakota, and then down into Buckner and Bedford and places like that. But once you guys got rolling, it was kind of all hands on deck for several weekends in a row. What were some of the keys to success for keeping that good-looking John Deere on top of the field all year?
Probably a lot of luck, to be honest. That just ran good. I guess very good engine parts. Brace. We had the tire sharpened right before we made the last couple passes of the season, and that really made a big difference. So I like I said, it was a good time. I wish the Clarks wouldn't have broke. I guess that was the biggest thing. I took 3. We had next to get about 7 or 8 of us in the class at least. If not more. And I think they're building for next year, so hopefully we'll be out stronger next year. So.
Yeah, the numbers in that class, I think that's something that we all want to see. I can kind of remember when this class started coming about 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and it seemed like the numbers jumped right up immediately, and everyone thought this is going to be a really hot new class, kind of a fun place for the old 7,500 super stocks to kind of land. As at that point, everyone is still running ag rear ends, and we'll talk about how we've kind of transitioned to components as well. And then we saw some of those numbers kind of come down. Now, we did see some new builds this year, but just like anyone, waiting on parts and, things kind of coming to where they needed to be. There were several pulls that I announced this year where there was maybe 3 or 4 of you. But one thing I really enjoyed is a big tip of the cap. You guys still came out every single time to put on the show for the fans. I mean, is it just about being out there for the fans? Is it about grabbing those points, or is that just the love of pulling and you can't just keep it home?
Well, want to build the class is the biggest thing. So we've been trying really hard, and we actually had 3 in the trailer for the most of the season. So that helped us a lot too. Iowa State Fair got rained out, which we were ready to roll there.
Right.
So it's been a good time. The parts have been the biggest thing, and there's a lot of new builds going on. There's a couple component chassis getting built right now. So I think once they get rolling, I think they were expected to get going for this last year, but couldn't make it because they couldn't get parts and everything to get things finished up. So
yeah, it almost feels like next year's we're kind of priming the pump, and we're all kind of holding our breath and crossing our fingers that we'll see that 5 to 7 to 9 consistent competitors in that class. The fans are going to love that. You guys pull frequently with the light limited pro stocks or the limited pro stocks, and you can kind of watch the crowd and they get the taste of those single chargers. And then you guys come out there with your no turbo restriction or running your 5-inch turbos, and you can just immediately hear the difference in the amount of horsepower you're turning. And it's like all of a sudden the whole crowd kind of comes back and refocuses because you can just see the amount of power that you guys are going to be putting down there. It's a fun class. It's an intriguing class. What is it that's so appealing about this to you? What draws you to this class? Is it the lighter weight? Is it those bigger turbos? Well, what do you think this class has going for it that's the best?
Oh, the biggest thing right now that I enjoyed about it so much is, like I said, restrictions aren't hardly any at all, and got a great group of people to pull with. A lot of us have stepped up, kind of getting into this class, and it's just a blast. I mean, it's a rush. Went from pulling the 8,500 light limited pro stock to this class, and it's the same chassis and more horsepower, and it is a rush. I mean, it's fun. I love doing it.
The rush is a good way to put it because you can just see that ground speed too, and you guys kind of sit and hook and lay down in the rear end there, and you're hauling the mail when those guys are going down there. There's no doubt about it. So your season, I kind of ran a couple of stats on it. It was a nice balance of consistency and grabbing some wins where you needed to. You finished the year with 3 first place finishes, 4 second places, and then you picked up a 3rd and a 4th. When you go out there, are you looking for the gold every time, or are you more of a consistency gets things done kind of guy?
I'm not gonna lie, I want to win. I want to run as hard as I can. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. Every time I hook up, it's. I guess that's the way I look at it. Every time I pull, it's gonna go to the end. Your best.
You're just saying, hells to the bells and knuckles to the buckles, and we're gonna put it as far as we can, and the chips will fall where they may. But you made every single hook. You were out there consistently. That paid dividends all season long. You picked up wins
pretty hard at the end, so that was fun too. Him and our trailer mates. So that's been constant chaos. It's been hilarious. We've been going back and forth the whole time, especially after Buckner. And that was a heck of a pass I had down there. Been trying to repeat that one. Will be fun.
I think you ended up. Let me see if I can pull this up on the app really quick. It was a close finish. You ended up winning by 3 points. So when you're in a class like this and you're chasing a points title, I imagine you're kind of walking that line between, hey, I really want to win, but I also want to help all my competitors, and we want to have as much iron as there is out there. Were you kind of counting your chickens there at the end, or were you just hoping that, hey, we want everybody out here putting on a great show for the fans?
Well, everybody to come out and have a great show for the fans. It was like after Bedford Al won, we were within 1 point going into Spencer. And then we had an issue with Brad's tractor. We wasted money, but it was fun going up there. You just don't know what's going to happen. So hope for the best. And I got first draw, and I think that worked the best. And Al couldn't get a hold of track behind me as good as I did, I guess. So that's just the way it goes. But him and I go back and forth. It's always fun. So it makes it a blast. So.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you're talking about Spencer and how that early draw helped you out. Daytime track. Those can kind of go away from you. It seems like a lot of times pullers prefer to hook a little later, especially if the sun is setting. You kind of avoid that. You dread that 1, 2, 3 spot. But on a daytime track, that might kind of play to your advantage. So at what point at Spencer did you kind of breathe a sigh of relief and say to yourself, hey, we think we've got this one in the bag? Or were you just holding your breath till it was all done?
I was hoping, to be honest, neither one of us got it because, we both run hard. We both run together. We're great friends. It's a blast. Didn't matter either way. I was hoping I would have a hell of a pass, to be honest, because we were trying something different and just to see what happens. But that's the learning game in this sport anyway.
No, that's awesome. What win stood out to you as the hardest fought or the sweetest victory that you walked away with this season?
Oh, I tell you what, winning down in Buckner was a blast. That was my best pass this year. Just felt amazing. I wish, like I said, there'd been a couple more tractors there just to see what happened, but holy crap, it just hung there and went, and that's the highlight of my year, I guess, right now. So
that Buckner track looked like a biting sow. That thing looked like it was taking every ounce of power that you could throw at it. Excellent track from the driver's seat, I imagine.
Well, it was a blast. It was fun. Yep.
Good. No, that Buckner event, kind of like this Lufkin event that we're talking about so much, that one's grown a lot recently, and that one's done really, really great things. So we love to see that one, having the success that it's doing. Are you going to be watching outlawpulling.tv? Or are you going to watch those other classes wrap up down in Lufkin this weekend?
Yeah, if we have time, I'm sure we will. So let's see what's going on. Yeah, definitely. So definitely watching on TV if we can, for sure. Yep.
Well, like I said, congratulations on your points of victory and your consistent finish with several wins to your credit on the season. Let's talk about the class as a whole. We feel really good about where things are going next year. You're heavily involved in it. Give us the inside scoop. What do you see for this class going forward? What are your goals or, your ambitions, or what's going to take it to the next level?
Well, I think the component chassis and finally getting some of them out. We're working on a couple of them, trying to get things rolling and everything. I think that's going to be the biggest game changer. It's going to be a blast. More longevity out of our parts and stuff like that, so we can make it a season and have issues with it.
The component really seems to be kind of slowly but surely it works its way into almost every class. Little by little as the horsepower gets turned up every single year. Is that something that you've been on board for from the beginning, or is that something you've kind of had to ease into and just, accept as the times are changing?
Well, at first it was kind of a, thought about it a little bit, but I guess after sitting down and actually looking at it, it's going to be a way better deal. I work on tractors, for a living up here. So the easier to work on, the better it's going to be. So I'm excited for the component because we don't have all that cast stuff to deal with all the time, when you're trying to get to something. So just make it so much easier. Longevity is going to be big time on it. So, and like I said, there would have been, there would have been a couple more out this year, I think, if they would have got things finished up to get them running. I know that for a fact. So I think our numbers are going to be pretty decent next year. I really do believe so. But
I know when we were in Bedford, everybody was very excited to see the debut or the re-debut of the Gopher tractor, making the conversion from a limited pro stock over to a light pro stock tractor out there running the component chassis rear end. They're a tough team. They're a team that's been down the track several times. Are you excited to have them in the class running with you?
Oh yeah, very nice people. That was fun. We went out for breakfast when we were down in Unionville. It was a good time. I mean, great people, and yeah, I'm excited. There's a couple more, that are coming out too. That's going to be a fun time too. So it's going to be, it's going to be a blast.
Now, I'm not well versed on your tractor specifically. Are you still ag rear end at the moment, or have you been component, and where are you at right now?
Still ag rear end yet. Yep. All of ours are actually. We're trying to we're working on some things this winter. Hopefully we can get something figured out, but our plan is not to really do anything until we're done with that, so we can drop the motor in and go, so that we're ready for next season, so we're not sitting on the sidelines. So that's
the equalizer there, and I was kind of looking at the rule book over here and going over it before we got on here. The components as they sit right now actually have to run a little bit lighter. You know, they're tipping the scales at 8,200 where you guys have 8,500. Do you think a lot of competitors will hang on to the ag rear end just using that weight to their advantage? Or are they going to say, you know, we're open to sacrificing the weight? And as a matter of fact, you can put that weight out on the nose that way with the lighter rear ends. Is that going to be something people are going to think about and you're going to see about half and half? Or how much do you think that'll come into play over the next 3 or 4 years?
Well, I think start with, I think it's going to be, you're going to have a, you know, probably being near half and half, you know, and I don't know for sure if they'll all go that way or not, but I think as we keep advancing every year in horsepower, that never seems to change. I think it'll kind of eventually veer all that way eventually, you know what I mean?
Right.
It might take some time, but getting a chassis build isn't an easy deal to do in a quick, you know, you can't just do it in a week. So
yeah, that's not just, you don't just take off a couple pulls and slap a new rear end underneath it and say, well, we'll try it and work the bugs out next weekend. But no, you can be very, very pleased with how yours is running right now. Tell us how you got in. Go ahead.
Well, we're not gonna do nothing with mine this year. I think we're just gonna leave it. We're gonna experiment some other things and then, you know, get some stuff going, and then we'll maybe next winter work on that one too. So eventually that's the plan. So
Perfect. What did you pull before you pulled light pro stock?
I pulled light limited pro stock I think we started that. I think we built in 2012. I think it was 2013 it was the first year they were out. We ran there until 2018, I think it was, and I won the points championship in that class. And then at that point in time, they decided to change up like the intake manifolds and stuff like that. And that's when we decided to kind of step up, and this 540 class looked like a blast, you know. So we decided to jump into that, and I'm glad we did. It's been a blast. A lot of learning curves, just like anything, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's a fun one. And like I said, the crowd really kind of comes alive when you guys come out there. So that's really neat. Now, your old tractor, was it called Rugrat Rampage as well?
Yep, same chassis. It hasn't changed.
I have scratched my head every time that I have announced that, and I've said, is this like a nod to the kids, or were you a youngster? Where does the Rugrat component come from in naming this machine?
I guess the biggest thing was we were sitting down trying to find names for tractors, and we found, you know, we did some experimenting, come up with Constant Chaos for Owls and Pandemonium Pulling Team. And my kids are pretty young at times. So we're sitting down at the table, you know, just ramming names back and forth, and they came up with it. So I said, yeah, let's run it. So, I mean, it's no one else has that name. So I guess that was another problem too. So we were just trying to figure out something that was different and, you know, it kind of fit what goes on sometimes around here.
I love it because the more you talk, the more I get it. You know, the mural on the side shields, you get all these kiddos running around, and I'm assuming then this is all a family thing to you. Your kids love it and your family loves it, and that's kind of a reflection of it as well.
Yeah, it is. And I got the Quonset is actually on the side of it's on the hood. That's actually it's our shop here at the place. So we put a new shop up this last year, but anyway, it's just kind of funny because that's how it all started from, was that. So, and yeah, it seems like every time I turned around, somebody was breaking something. So I guess that's just what we went with, and it turned out pretty good. So
is that kind of what the shop looks like too? You've got all the kiddos running around and helping out and being a part of it. Is the mural on the side a pretty good representation of what a typical week looks like at your household?
Well, now they're getting older. You know, back when we did it, it was kind of that way. There was always stuff flying around here, but now that they're getting older, I guess, and I got my youngest is 16, and he helps out a lot with the tractor and stuff during the summer and stuff. And other than that, yeah, I mean, the rest of them kind of, you know, they're moved on. They got their own hobbies and stuff like that, but they're still around yet. I mean, my oldest JB, he likes to come too. So, but yeah, it's kind of calmed down, but not really.
No, I feel you. I feel you. Is this the first points championship in the 540 cubic inch light pro class?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
So, well, we've got comments rolling in. So if you don't mind, I'm going to sift through some of these and we can kind of chat about them together. So, of course, everyone's gearing up for Lufkin. Zook Fukerberg. This, of course, is Doug Voth. This is his Facebook profile. Says Ron Stone, he's not on the show tonight. It's because he's traveling down there to Texas right now. Says he's supposed to be at the shop anytime to help out on that Griffin growl coming on down there. So we hope to see him out. J.E. or J.J. Escher says, I love tractor pullers. Like treadfuls, like John. Do you know this individual, John?
I don't know if I do or not. Probably should. I'm bad at names. That's what I'm going to say.
Julie Reeg says, great show. Thank you for watching, Julie. And of course, the Light Pro Stock class, always putting on a great show every time that they're hitting the dirt out there. Doug chiming back in, and he wants to give you his personal congratulations. Says congratulations on your points championship out there as well. So very cool. Dale Bartels. Dale Bartels, of course, a longtime announcer in the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling, works with the Heartland division quite a bit this year, says it's his favorite class. Make the lights go dark. And boy, that is the truth. You guys can roll some coal with the best of them when everything's tuned right out there. So always a lot of fun when you get the turbos spinning.
He was talking about in Lee, Nebraska, I think it was last year, where he was down there announcing, and that was hilarious. Yeah, it was a good time. The wind was just right, made the place go dark, so it was fun.
I tell you what, that Lee Pull, that is a fun place to go pulling. That is a big crowd. That's a lively crowd. That's a track where you guys are able to get out there and run. And of course, I think that was your first victory on the year this year.
Yep, so, that was the first one of the year. Yep.
Yep, very, very fun pull. Randy Barker just kind of supporting everything, says, Lord, help us get the kids drawn back towards these events. We agree. You know, we love seeing the kids and the families all coming out and supporting it. Doug, very active tonight, says, hey, man, why you don't need to watch it on outlawpulling.tv. How about a road trip down to Texas? Have you ever pulled in Texas before, John?
No, I never have. Nope, we never been down there to pull. They've never had our class down there, so.
I have never been to Texas, and I am promoting this and talking about the Lufkin pull, and I'm just, you know, crying in my beer because it just bums me out that I'm not able, that my season's kind of wrapped up by the time that they have that. But neat event that the Outlaws does to push it all the way into October and to go down south where the weather's still pretty warm and they can have that pull.
It's big follower down there.
Big follower online, pull party out of Bowling Green, Ohio, checking in, letting us know he's watching. Said played the Price is Right pulling edition last night. Yeah, we had a little fun game on Let's Grow Pulling. Dale coming back, says congratulations, straight from him.
Thank you.
No. And Ben Beller, well, we'll go ahead and put this question up here, Ben, but Ben Beller says, did you put in for the National Farm Machinery Show? Do they have light pros at Louisville?
Yeah, they do. We'll see.
Care to comment on this, or is this one you're going to keep close to your secrets before you go out public with it?
We'll see. That's all I can say.
I like it. So we'll know when we're in Broadbent and we see you rolling in, then we'll know the answer as to whether or not you put in for the National Farm Machinery Show. Have you been to Louisville before, watched as a spectator or competitor, either one?
No, I've never been down there. Never once been down there yet, so, yep.
Neat deal. Tim Duncloud checking in, says congratulations. Tim, super nice guy.
Yep.
Dick Blankenspur says he's watching from Inwood, Iowa. John, it takes a village to go pulling. Who are some people that you need to thank? Who are some of your biggest supporters? Who makes this happen every single weekend when you're going out? 9 hooks over a course of a couple weekends. Things can get pretty busy.
Yeah, I gotta first thank my wife, obviously, and my family for letting me do this and be away, and my employees here at John's Repair. I mean, everybody supports me on this journey, and it's fun, and they enjoy watching what we do. And of course, Alan, Pam, Shalom, Brad Isles, Bryce Van Ginnerin, Great Motor Parts. I guess I better say Taylor Van Beek. I don't know if anybody knows him or not, but he did some all right work on my tires this year. Obviously, it seemed to help a little bit. So,
well, I heard you slide that in kind of casually earlier. You said that you got your tires cut right in the middle of the season, and then you said that's when things really started biting, no pun intended. So, yeah, Taylor does great work, and boy, tires, that's kind of the new name of the game in pulling right now. You've got to have those meats on the back performing the way they need to be.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people I'm forgetting, but it's just, I just thanks everybody, and thanks all the fans that come out and watch us and support the Outlaws. And like I said, hopefully I have a whole bunch more whole bunch more people in the class next year to make even a better show for us all to watch. So and participate in.
The numbers are what we're all hoping for, because I don't know a single pulling fan that doesn't love this class. I think all the promoters, they kind of talk about it. They ask for it. It's a top requested class. You guys put on a great show. The future is bright in this class. And, as we kind of bridge that gap going into the components, maybe that does help the numbers come up. Obviously, when you see longtime pullers like the Mullinixes and the Shag Nasty Tractor, being involved in this, that's always a good sign. Cole Lundahl checking in. Cole Lundahl does great work on social media and pulling, runs a camera for us at Outlaw Pulling TV, says he's watching from Wakefield, Nebraska. And another one chiming in and saying, congratulations on the points championship. Andrew Sprock with a super modified 2-wheel drive truck right down here out of Missouri, also congratulating you on that as well. Was the Light Limited Pro Stock your first venture into pulling, or did you have a pedigree in pulling that goes back even before that?
Started antique tractor pulling years ago with Shelms, and kind of got into. They have a pull here about a mile north of my place, actually, in the summertime, which is always a blast to go to. We used to do it. I haven't done it for years, obviously. Got into that, and then went from antique pulling to went to the Great Plains and pulled with the open farm class there for quite a few years. So then we decided to make the step up to the Outlaws when they got that 466 class going. That was what we went into. That's where we wanted to be, and that's where we've been there. So
one question that I asked
a lot of times. So that was my first tractor. So
how has your experience? So you shifted to the Outlaws in the LLP class, the 466 cubic inch class in about 2018. So you've been an Outlaw for a good 6-8 years now. This is my first full summer with the Outlaws, and I was blown away at everyone talks about the Outlaw family. It's not friends, or it's an Outlaw family. Speak to what it means to you just to be an Outlaw, and just kind of how your experience has been with this association.
Well, not to correct you wrong, but 2013 is what I think was our first year we joined.
Oh, 13. Forgive me.
Yep. Anyway, it's been a great, the people we've met and the friendships we made on the road has just been amazing. We've talked about 100 times on the way down, if you run into a problem, there's not very many, you don't have to think very hard of who you could call to get help, you know what I mean? Because so many people on the road. So, it's been a great experience. So we love it.
2018 was your points championship. Is that correct? Okay. So we grabbed a championship in 2018. We grabbed a championship in 2024. We've been pulling with the league for well over 10 years. Been in it since 2013. Do you have a favorite spot to pull?
Well, I tell you what, it's Madison's a blast up there. It's a lot of work. It's hard to keep your mind focused on what's actually going on for the pull, but it's always fun. I'm trying to think of where. Right now I can't really say off the top of my head. I have to think about it for a second.
Is Madison? You guys are out of South Dakota, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So Madison, that's the lone pull that we have in South Dakota on the schedule right now. Is Madison your closest thing to a hometown pull?
Yep, pretty much that in Rock Valley. Rock Valley is about 60 miles, and Madison's about 45 miles, like it is from our place up there. So, yep.
So this year at Madison, we grabbed a second place finish. Have you won there before?
Oh, years ago, I think it was I want to say first or second year. Maybe we were up there. I think I got a first in the 85 with the Outlaws up there. After that, it's hard to do it. So, like I said,
it's the hardest pull to win. Now, I've not been to that one, but the crowd up there looks massive. They look like they're really into it. And that's a neat event that you guys have, because that extends well beyond the pull. You guys have like some classic equipment, and it's kind of a threshing show and an antique show. Are you into that kind of stuff as well?
Yeah, I got a John Deere 70. Actually, Ethan, my son, he actually drove that up there Thursday night for the antique pull up there, and then Friday night was a Great Plains. So, and there's a lot of hooks up there during the week. They got pulling, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. They do, there's always something going on up there for that event. So it's a good time.
Yeah, that one's on my bucket list for sure. That looks like a super cool event. So you mentioned you really enjoyed pulling there. You like pulling at Rock Valley. I think you grabbed a second at Rock Valley.
Yeah, second. Yep.
Got a second and a fourth. So big fun event that they have up there as well.
Back up to Madison again. It was cool. That was like the highlight of my year, I guess, as far as actual a team pull. Al finished first, second, third. It was amazing. Al got a win up there. That's his. He's been doing that a lot longer up at Village than I have. So it was awesome to see that. So that whole weekend was a good time.
You seem like the kind of guy who, when your teammates succeed or when you can park them 1, 2, and 3, yeah. Does that mean just as much to you as a win? As long as you guys are all up there, is that, it's all thumbs up back at the trailer afterwards?
Yep. We can't all get first. So 1, 2, 3 is the best you can do, and I love it. So
that's pulling in a nutshell. I mean, that's I feel like the attitude that almost every outlaw, almost every puller probably has. You're all out there kind of on the same team, and when your stablemates can all do well, that's as good as it gets, man. Mm-hmm. So, well, John, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. Give us your closing thoughts and your final shout out. Whatever you want to tell the people out there in Outlaw Family, Outlaw Nation. Now's your chance to let them hear you.
I guess I would just say thanks to all the fans that keep supporting this, and hopefully this keeps growing for all of us so we can have a very good summer next year. So the biggest thing. Thanks to everybody that helped me out this year that I forgot about. If I have, I'm sorry. I don't do this much, but just want to thank everybody that's been part of this whole thing. So it's been great.
They know who they are, and they know you're thinking about them. I always hate asking pullers that right in the heat of the moment. Who do you need to thank? Because every puller's got a list that's 200 people long, and you hate to miss someone, but they know who they are, and they know that you couldn't do it without them. Bright things for your tractor to come in 2025, bright things for your class to come. Yep. I honestly think in the next 5 to 10 years, I think it's a class that's here to stay. Thank you for being someone who campaigned so hard for this class. Well done on your championship. Thank you so much for coming on to Outlawed Live with us this evening.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep. Thank you, John. Folks, that was John Naragon, driver of Rugrat Rampage, your 2024 8,500-pound light pro stock, 540 cubic inch class. Had 9 hooks on the season. He walked away with a third of the victories, never finished out of 4th place, averaged a finish of 2nd place. That's a consistent and dominant season from a hard-running John Deere machine out there. Folks, hope you're having a great time watching Outlawed Live this evening. We're going to swing back over. I've got some cool videos that I want you folks to see because, as we keep saying, 2 sessions left to go, 1 pull left to look at. And we've got a pretty awesome video, and we want to share it with you right about now. We got another really cool one coming in from Lufkin, Texas. Love hearing Ron Stone come in and comment on the tail end of that last video. Made one of those signature calls that he's famous for. Folks, if you are in this crowd and watching tonight, you are watching some big time pulling. Boy, those videos get me fired up. And speaking of Ron Stone, you know, guys, there's always multiple ways that you can interact with Outlawed Live. And we've got some real-time interaction coming in from the voice of the Outlaws, Mr. Ron Stone, right now. Quick update. You see, in addition to our Draggin and Pullin in the Pines and Crown and Points championships, we also want to make sure that you're well aware of the Case IH Super Fan Contest. We've been talking about this all season long, and let's hit some final notes on that before we wrap things up for the season. We want to make sure that everybody knows that the contest does come to an end on the 30th. This is the Case IH Super Fan Experience. You cannot win if you don't play, so be sure to get entered. And there's going to be second, third, fourth, and even fifth place prizes. So don't think that you're out of the running just because you're not in the number one spot. Going to have 5 spots given away for that. That will be announced on November 5th. And then the grand prize, the number one, that subcompact tractor with the little folding money to help you take care of it, that's going to be announced November 12th. And the great folks at Case IH, they have an awesome video that promotes that as well. Let's take a look at it, shall we? Be sure to scan that QR code. Ron says it all the time. We hope that that winner is one of you awesome fans who always watches the Outlawed live show, the diehard Outlaw faithful that support us on outlawpulling.tv, our social media, and right at the track every single time. That tractor's going home with somebody. Might as well be you. It's got multiple applications, and it's going to look great on your farm. So they're going to be drawing for the second, third, fourth, and fifth place prizes on November 5th. And then the grand prize, that's going to be drawn for on the 12th. Scan that QR code at any of our events. Be on the lookout for it down in Lufkin, or go to outlawpulling.com, www.outlawpulling.com, to find that as well. Got a good crowd tonight, interactive crowd. A lot of you guys are commenting, so we'll hit some of those. Randy Barker's got a lot to say this evening. Thank you for watching, Randy. Says the grand finale and the fireworks. That's right. I've heard they have a big show down there. He also says humble spirit. Honor it your way, honoring all those veterans and everybody that we're looking out for down there at Draggin Pullin in the Pines in Lufkin, Texas, Mission 22. Well, at this part of the show, let's kick it over to a highlight segment where we like to feature one of our drivers every single week. For those of you who've been watching for a long time, know that this is a segment we call When the Smoke Clears. You see, when the smoke clears, you'll be looking at an outlaw. And which outlaw are we going to be looking at this week? Well, there's not going to be any smoke, but there's still going to be an awesome outlaw nonetheless. Let's take a look at our featured outlaw this week, Mr. Miles Jumps in the Noise Complaint. Awesome stuff with those videos right there, courtesy of the Beer Money Pulling team. Big thank you to them for putting those together for us every single week. So this week, when the smoke clears, you'll be looking at Mr. Miles Jumps in his truck he calls a noise complaint. He's got a biography for it. Let's check it out right over here. Your puller is Miles Jumps. Calls the truck the noise complaint. It's a pro stock four-wheel drive. It's a 1976 Ford F350. And as I flipped through this guy's biography earlier today, I'm thoroughly convinced that he bleeds Ford blue through and through. And when we asked him how long he's been pulling, he says, all my life, but I started driving in 2011. So he's a lifelong attendant to truck and tractor pulling, been behind the wheel since 2011. His first pull, his first hook was in Troy, Kansas with the NK Pullers. His most memorable hook was sweeping the weekend at Rock Valley, Iowa in 2023 and coming home with the rock. Asked him about the wildest ride in the truck. He says, well, the truck took a pretty wild ride, but I wasn't the one driving. Says Mike Compton was the hired gun in the seat one night, stood on it, and at the nose at the Iowa Fair, stood it on the nose at the Iowa Fair, sliding the clutch out in 2021. We've seen that happen with these trucks a couple of times over the years. Points championships. He says, I don't have any to my credit at this point, but stay tuned. His biggest pulling heroes include Bill Overstreet, Mike Compton, and Marty Selman. Of course, die-hard Ford pullers all the way through right there. His best pulling advice. He says, if you need some pulling advice, you're going to ask him about it. And says, don't overthink it and trust yourself. His day job, he's a golf course assistant superintendent. All kinds and pulling. The guy obviously pretty good at swinging the sticks. His pulling goals include winning a points championship with the Outlaws, and he wants to add a Thunderbolt from Wisner, Nebraska up there on the shelf with the rock and the weights that he's got from Rock Valley, Iowa. When asked about what is the best part of being an outlaw, he says, everyone is a competitor on the track, but off the track, they are nothing but family. And his message to the fans, don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, we see that time and time again. Pullers say, come talk to us. What do you want to know? Take pictures with it. It's a great motorsport where you're actually allowed to walk through the pits. It's something that's a part of the experience. So Miles Jump says, go out there and come and talk to him. When the smoke clears, you'll be seeing Miles Jumps in the Pro Stock four-wheel drive class. Lufkin, Texas. Let's go back to the app. How many do we have signed up at this point? Folks, if you don't have the Outlaw app, I can't say it enough. It is one of the best things that we have going for us right now. Just slide right over here, go to events, click on Lufkin, Texas, and we can go ahead and look at lineups. Now, we're still several days out. My cohorts, my friends, my people behind the scenes, we always know that, hey, you know, these numbers, they grow right up to the show. You know it's a big pull when they're signed up big time already. At this point, 3 days before the show, we've got 14 super modified two-wheel drive trucks. John and I were speaking earlier, numbers are so much in this game. We always want to see those numbers out there. 14, that is a perfect size of class. Super modified two-wheel drive trucks, including names like Richard Morris, Cameron Pascal, Ray Miller. I believe he was your 2023 points champion. Several pullers out of Texas, the Shameless and Shameless 2 by the Hunt family. Of course, all your Texas Bullwhip Motorsports team is going to be down there. And then, not going to let the cat out of the bag on this one, but you might even see a truck out of Kentucky come down looking to tame some of that Texas track for the second time this year, looking for a little redemption. The Diesel 3.0s, those limited pro stock diesel trucks, we've already got 12 of those signed up. The Show Me State boys, they're bringing their iron down, but the Texas locals are saying, hey, not so fast. This is the Lone Star State, and you're not going to walk away just without going through us. You're going to see names like the Perkins Diesel, Legal Limits with Skylar Leaper, Kong, Cody Lee out of Houston, Texas, all hopped up, Thunderstruck, Jason Wayman, and Megatron. Man, oh man, I don't know if I'd want to bet against that guy. 12 of those already lined up. Pro stock four-wheel drive trucks, they're just hooking for folding cash and bragging rights. We have 4 of those ready to do battle. That number could grow before Friday and Saturday. The modifieds, you're looking at 10 of those, the best of the best. We're talking the triple Chevys. We're talking the twin Hemis. We're talking some turbines. We're talking maybe even an Allison. And yet again, maybe another individual from Kentucky grabbed a couple of thirds in white right. He might be saying, you know what, can I climb that ladder a little bit more? But those Outlaws and those Texas guys, not going to give it to him without a fight. And we've got 5 pro stock tractors ready to go up to this point. So if that doesn't convince you, I don't know what will at this point. It's going to be an awesome show for an awesome cause. Got a couple of comments still rolling in. Great crowd tonight. Thank you guys for interacting. And yes, it wouldn't be a show without me acknowledging and getting accused. You know, I don't know why we call it an accusation. It's truck and tractor pulling at the old pulling track. Ben Beller says, Mike, you sure love them door slammers. Do I ever? I love the naturally aspirated four-wheel drive trucks, be it pro stock or the modifieds. Love them both. And Marty Samuelson got a chance to catch up with Marty in Wisner, Nebraska. He was able to come and say hi to me and shake hands. I believe we're still supposed to have a cold beverage over in the Thunderdome sometime. We'll make that happen one of these years. Marty Samuelson saying hi from Ravenna, Nebraska. So to just give this thing an overall recap, congratulations to John Naragon in the Rugrat Rampage 540 cubic inch light pro stock class, a class that grabs all fans' attentions, that pullers really enjoy, that we love watching. He and I both confident, the world's confident that class is going to continue to grow. Congratulations to him on his first points championship and that second point championship as an outlaw. Draggin Pullin in the Pines. It's available to be streamed on outlawpulling.tv. Be sure you don't have to change any of your subscription. Just tune into that, and that's going to come right there to you. But hey, if you're within driving distance, and guys, driving distance pulling is worth driving for. If you're 3, 4, 5 hours, you know, that's like a Sunday drive for all you Texans, right? That's just, you know, a casual afternoon in the old pickup truck. Head on out to Draggin Pullin in the Pines this Friday and Saturday. 6 o'clock start time for both. Folks, thank you so much for watching. Hope you had half as much fun as I did. There's nothing not fun about truck and tractor pulling. This is Mike Idle, Outlawed Live. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Have a great evening.